Good morning, Steam It. It's Episcopo Squirrel here, also known as Mage. Here to do another morning dab with the Mage. It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks now. I'm really slacking on replying to comments, and I've just been extremely busy. I just had a test in biology on Thursday, and this is the stack of cards that I used to study. And there were still things missing from this that I didn't study. And again, this is also only vocabulary. It's not actually like the processes that are going on. And oh, sorry, I paused the music. Anywho, yeah, I've been really busy. So needless to say, I still appreciate everybody's support, and it's great to even get comments long after the payout has come by and see people still leaving their thoughts. I'm very grateful. Thank you all very much for your continued support. I know I've been slacking on supporting other people. School time makes it really difficult for me to get around and see everybody's stuff and leave full comments and so I just hope that you guys continue to support me and show me love, and yeah. So today we're going to talk about sleep paralysis and astral projection and that kind of topic. Cheers. Ooh. So, let's do this. Astral projection, or as modern science and psychology calls it, sleep paralysis. Or excuse me, well, it begins with a state of sleep paralysis. I personally have never actually fully astral projected myself, but I do experience sleep paralysis. And I have had an out-of-body experience. With the out-of-body experience, I think that what happened was I thought that I had overdosed on a drug, and I thought that I had died. And so I feel like my mind has created this barrier on leaving my body because it has this like instant fear reaction of, oh fuck, I'm dead. It's not the case, but that's what my mind likes to think. Our minds are weird and create these patterns out of nothing. But anyway, so sleep paralysis, it can be quite terrifying. Depending on like what's going on, it can be very intense or it can be a very pleasant experience. For me, it's always very, very intense and never a very pleasant experience. I'll just briefly explain what I experienced, not last night, but the night before. So, I was in the midst of having some nightmares. I have nightmares all the time. There's a bunch of stuff in my past that I'm trying to work through. It likes to rear its head in my dreams, where the consciousness doesn't have so much control. And so I wake up from these dreams, and the whole house is dark, the door's shut, and I get this instant, foreboding, overwhelming feeling as though someone were about to try and kill me from the other side of the door. There was someone on the other side of the door who wanted to harm me, wanted me dead. And So I tried to move, but I couldn't. You know, within sleep paralysis, you are literally paralyzed. You're aware of the surroundings of your room, of wherever you are, but you can't move. Because technically you're still sleeping. You're in what's known as stage 1 sleep. You have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and REM. And there used to be stage 4, but stage 4 has been combined with stage 3 because of some studies they found that only a very specific group of people who have it. And anyway, so there's lots of controversy over stage 4, whether or not it is stage 3 or whether or not it's an actual separate stage. But anyway, so stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, REM. And you go through this cycle all through the night. In stage 1, you're aware of your surroundings, and if you've ever been sleeping and felt like you weren't, and somebody woke you up and said, "Hey, you need to wake up," and you're like, "No, I wasn't sleeping. I was aware of everything." To them, you look like you're asleep, and even though you don't think you're asleep, your eyes are closed, and somehow you're still aware of the surroundings. And anywho. So you can't move. Your body produces a chemical when you sleep to make it so that you don't act out your dreams. And so it paralyzes you. And so having this overwhelming sense of someone trying to harm me and not being able to move, it increases that fear. And so I try to scream, you know. I tried to scream so my neighbors could hear me. But my voice was held mute. Nothing could come out. My mouth wouldn't move. My throat wouldn't move. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. All I could do was stare at the door. And just stare and wait for the door to open. And it seemed like hours went by in this state, just staring at the door. But I'm sure it was only minutes. If not just moments. It's really intense going through these experiences. And so, after minutes or moments passed by, I remembered that I was in my head. I remembered that I was dreaming. And so I relaxed, and I let go of that fear. And within another few moments, I was able to move again. My whole body was able to move. I could talk, I could scream if I wanted to, but at this point, I recognized that there was no point in screaming. There was no point in trying to get help. It was an invisible entity, if it was even there. And so, I just rolled back over and went to sleep. Fell into more fucking nightmares and dreams. But this state can lead to astral projection. I'm not really sure how to do it. I'm being suggested to focus on moving without moving my body. And so to me that kind of translates as like focus on a location rather than on focusing on the function of moving. But again, I'm not too keen on this. This is an area I haven't really gotten into very much. I've dealt with sleep paralysis since I was a child. I was traumatized at a very young age, and it seems as though people who are traumatized end up dealing with sleep paralysis and these weird astral entities such as shadow beings, shadow people. And perhaps I'll make a video on shadow people. I've made a blog, blog, an article if you'd like to go back. You can see those on the shadow people, but You know, once I learned that shadow people, they feed off of fear, and to just feed them happiness, they'll leave. Shadow people don't fuck with me anymore. Now I get these weird, ominous, figureless, well, they don't take certain shape. They come in multiple different forms. And for instance, one of them took the shape of a large snake, a giant snake, and my cat battled this snake. My cat is my familiar, and so I believe that he watches me in my sleep, and he takes care of me as I'm sleeping, and while I'm awake too. He guides me through my life and helps me with my practices. He's an amazing cat. But yeah, so I don't really have any tips for how to actually astral project. There are teas that you can use to assist in reaching this state. You use it before you sleep. For instance, Blue Lotus and Skullcap are both really good when combined to use as a tea before going to sleep to induce astral projection. I've never done it, but this is something I've read in multiple different locations, so yeah. If y'all have any tips, you know, leave them down there in the comments. I like to see them. For astral projecting, or for, you know, of ways of dealing with these astral entities and figuring out what their weaknesses are, in order to banish them from my home, to banish them from my existence, or my immediate existence, or to work with them. Obviously, you know, I'm not trying to cause harm or be manipulative to others or anything like that, but I believe that all things in this life have their purpose and can help the growth of the planet if harnessed properly. Fire destroys, fire burns, but when properly harnessed, brings us to an entire new level as a race, as a species. So what can these invisible fires do to help us? I love you guys. Have a beautiful day.